Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GABNET, the Great American Broadcast Network. You love GABNET. You love the hosts and the citizen panels. In fact, you wish you could take them wherever you go. On your computer, log on to gabnet.net, where our stream is available around the clock. On your TV, GABNET is available on Roku with the same around-the-clock stream, plus all the latest episodes of GABNET programs, old favorites, videos, and tons of celebrity interviews. When you're mobile, we're on your iPhone or iPad with podcasts accessible via iTunes or Stitcher, and that same around-the-clock stream on TuneIn. If you don't want GABNET wherever you go, well, the hell with you. Go ahead, listen to your old-fashioned talk shows that do things in the same old predictable way. Meanwhile, the rest of us will be having fun listening to talk like you've never heard it before on GABNET. Ladies and gentlemen, the history of talk radio. Political opinions have been a staple of radio since the early 1920s. Talk radio as a listener participation format has existed since at least the mid-1940s. WMCA New York's Barry Gray was bored with playing music and put a telephone receiver up to his microphone to talk with band leader Woody Herman. This was soon followed by listener call-ins. In 1948, disc jockey Alan Courtney began a call-in program on WGBS Miami. The Alan Courtney Open Phone Forum was a conservative and anti-communist political forum with coverage area over the southeast United States and Cuba. In the 50s, Joe Pine, John Nebel, and Gene Shepard were among the first to explore the medium. In recent years, talk radio has gained popularity with many new formats flourishing, including all sports in 1986 with the birth of WFAN New York. The subject matter for these formats are different, but the structure has remained the same for all these years. You might say, talk radio is a 20th century format. Until now, that is. It's 2014. And radio pioneer and innovator Alex Bennett introduces the Citizen Panel on GABNET, the first revolutionary idea in the format since its inception. The Citizen Panel allows for an open discussion to take place between the host and many listeners all at the same time. Listeners claim that it's addictive, producing stimulating discussions on any topic from politics to movies and entertainment. It's not liberal or conservative. It's open to all opinions and ideas. Log on to gabnet.net to listen and find out how you can participate. Listen to the programs on GABNET and take a step into 21st century talk radio. Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GABNET, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey! Hello, everybody. This is Alex Bennett, and this is the Ramble. It goes from now until midnight Eastern Daylight Time. And if you're out there in about a half hour from now, if there is one to be found, we will have a citizens panel. Phil will not be here tonight, so it'll be a Phil-free night. So a lot of you people who sometimes don't call because you feel that you have a hard time getting a word in edgewise when Phil is on, tonight's the night for you to call, okay? But in the meantime, we have a guest, an old friend of ours, and we started off in our usual manner.
Hi, this is Gilbert Godfrey.
No, that's not it.
Okay,
that's the wrong
here
one.
we go. We're going to call our old friend here because, as we say, we always like to do this so he get to hear what he says when he picks up, because when he picks up, it's strange. Here we go. Come on, start ringing. There we go. It's ringing.
Hey, it's Wednesday. You know what that means? It's time for Dennis Miller's scathing rebuttal to Michelle Fox's set on Sunday night at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Hey, babe, Michelle Fox's mordant trenchant incursion of our indomitable harbingers is nothing short of seditiousness and possesses all the charm and couth of Arch Johnson gormandizing Vichyssoise with an opaque toothpick sparky. Hair throw. Fuck you, Miller, you right-wing, Bill O'Reilly, dick-sucking fucking cunt. You couldn't improvise a booger after blowing your nose. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, it's same old happy Steve Pearl.
Thank you. Boy, things are happening. Big things, huge things, hugely things. You won't believe it.
You know, I didn't follow this thing too carefully because I didn't watch the Correspondents' Dinner, but I hear she went after that fat fuck. What's her name? Huckabee.
The Huckabee, old one eye there. Stink eye.
Stink eye, yeah. Sarah Huckabee, and even the press said it was in bad taste. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the White House Correspondents' Dinner. It's the next thing to a roast, isn't it? You know, I mean,
it's a roast that wasn't at the White House, and she's a comedian. With those people, representing a bully and who were bullying themselves, sure, she did the right thing.
Well, she had to work in absence of the president being there, which usually the president is there, and the reason you do it is you get to, give the president a bad time and so on. But he wasn't there, so she had to get along without that safeguard, and all of a sudden everybody's on her case. Why? Because she was trying to be funny? Because she was only doing what that dinner has always been?
Yep. It's just comedy, folks. Lighten up, snowflakes.
Yeah.
It's just comedy. Now she knows how I felt when I played in South Carolina, but I gotta tell you.
Well, I often said, what the fuck ever happened to Dennis Miller? First of all, I asked, what the fuck ever happened to Dennis Miller? Then I asked, what the fuck happened to Dennis Miller? You get
right after they ask, what the fuck happened to Geraldo? Oh, look where they are.
But anyway, and people say, gee, he used to just be such a left-wing comedian. He was never a left-wing comedian. Never. I was talking.
He seemed a bit more liberal in the olden days when I thought he was kind of funny.
You know what it was? If you worked neutral, okay, and you did political comedy. If you worked neutral but you did political comedy, then each side put their own imprint on you. But when you start to take sides, then you don't have that luxury of having that imprint being put upon you. Okay? So one day he decided, I'm just going to be, right-wing, and I'm going to espouse right-wing causes. Well, that killed him as a comedian because he didn't have the objectivity a comedian should have. I mean...
That's right.
Will Durst is very much a leftist, but somehow I think a right-winger could hear his comedy and feel comfortable, Yeah. What were you going to say?
No, Durst's approach is a bit friendlier, too, and, he's got that Midwest charm going there, the Will Rogers kind of thing going on.
Well, Miller's a has-been.
He's a bit,
is a bitter has-been, is what he is.
Yeah.
Which is what I am.
Yeah.
I'm a bitter has-been, too. So, I know what it's like.
I'm a bitter never was. That way you can say anything you want. There's no career to destroy.
Yeah, right.
There's not even a shell of a career to destroy.
Somebody said, gee, Alex, you shouldn't say that. It might hurt your career. I say, what career? What? I suddenly realized...
Romania died in the 90s.
Listen, there's no value in getting old. You don't. Nobody gives you seats anymore on the bus. Forget it. You don't have that benefit. No. You don't have the benefit of people picking you up when you fall down. None of that. You don't have any of those old people things. But what you still do have is that you can get away with anything. When you're old, you use that as your excuse. Well, I'm old and I can make that kind of joke, and I'm bitter, but I have a right to. I have a right to
buy cracky after what you do.
So if I'm going to have anything to make my age be worthwhile, it's going to be that. It's going to be that I can say anything I fucking want to say and not care who's bothered by it.
There you go. Once you, I'm 62. Once you hit 60, you earned your I don't give a fuck badge. You wear it proudly.
People say to me, "Why do you say bad stuff about
serious. They might hire you back again. Hey, it's been 5 fucking years. I don't think they're going to hire me back again, so I don't care who I upset over there. You know?
Yeah, maybe they misplaced their headshot. You never know.
I'm just an old grouchy man. Just I give it up to that. But I don't have any other benefits. Nobody else gives me benefits. They try to take them away. You know.
Yeah.
But I don't have any benefits. So why shouldn't I just?
I don't know. The other day I was going to the supermarket. And these young kids, like teenagers or early 20s, were going the same time about me, and they both stepped aside. No, you go first, mister. I wanted to hit him on the head with the nearest opaque object. Oh man. No, I'm not that old. You go first, mister. Oh, shit, I'm that guy.
Yeah, well, when you start hearing the word sir a lot.
Yeah, don't call me sir, don't call me mister. It makes me feel old, corporate, and dirty.
You don't make fun of people, supposedly. You don't call a black person the N-word, which we all know what the N-word is when we say the N-word, and we're all thinking it in our minds, but we don't say it because we can't say that word. That's the word that shall never be said.
No, not good.
But they never think about old people. And they don't think that really this sometimes deference to age is in and of itself ageist. Sir, excuse me, sir, can I help you, sir? When I was 30, they never said, can I help you, sir? No.
Uh-huh.
They said, can I help you? So I kind of take offense at that. I don't, but if I'm going to get something for my age, then let me just be a nasty, vile human being and get away with it. Okay?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. And I have every reason.
When I get called sir, I cringe inside a little.
Right. Oh, don't say that about those people. They might not hire you back. Well, they were supposed to have they were supposed to have a lunch with me after I left, and we never even had that. Okay, so I'm not expecting very much from that quarter. So why shouldn't I say they're a bunch of fucking assholes?
So that's it. Goodbye. Good luck to me. We don't remember saying good luck. Out with you.
Yeah. No, I would be really nice to the whole industry if I felt there was a job out there for me. But since there isn't, fuck all y'all. You're terrible, and your radio outfits are going bankrupt and going into Chapter 13 and doing all this and doing Chapter 11, I think it is. Chapter 11. See, that's how much I know about business. And they're all going broke, so I should give a fuck. I should give a fuck that maybe I can get a job somewhere for $13 an hour doing a radio show.
Oh God, yeah. Fuck it. Live off the Social Security and smoke weed. You'll be happier.
You've kind of opted somewhat out of comedy. You do it occasionally, but you've opted out.
Occasionally, no. I will not live on the road again. I'm too old for that shit, man. And the club owner says you can't use any verbs tonight because action words scare these people, and you got to do this and don't talk about wood or stop it. No, not anymore. Not anymore.
Well, you know how I know I've gotten old?
What?
I can't get up on stand up on a stool. Remember how you used to be able to get up on a stool and stand on it to get to something?
Yep.
I can't anymore.
I remember being able to. I remember to skip stairs. Now I kind of walk down sideways.
I'm even frightened by a ladder now.
Oh, I won't go near a ladder.
Really?
No, I'll look at it from across the street. It's okay. Stay at least 200 feet away from a ladder.
Yeah, but before I used to get up on a ladder, not even thinking twice about it. You're just not agile like you used to be. So we have problems with being older, but one of the biggest problems is nobody takes you seriously. I remember years.
At this point.
Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead. You go ahead.
No, you're older. I feel bad for you. You go ahead. You can keel over before I get. You go ahead. You first. Age before beauty. And believe me, if they call me pretty, something's wrong with them.
Years ago, when I was a young whippersnapper snapping a whip, I was with two women, and we were at Max's Kansas City here in New York. And we were, and I met these two women. I was meeting up with them, and with them was this really old gentleman. See, there I go. He was like maybe 75, and I think he was 75. And so I said to him while we were all talking, I said, "What's the worst thing about being 75?" And he said, "Nobody thinks you get horny anymore." And these two women, of course, are with him going, well, there's a reason for that. You know, I mean, but when I thought about that, after that happened, I went around to all the women I knew and said, I don't know if I'm going to know you when I'm 75, but when I'm 75, will you fuck me? And they went, sure, I will. So I got a whole bunch of women to agree to fuck me when I was 75. Of course, I don't know where they are now, and I don't know, where they live, and some of them are dead. You gotta
have contracts. You gotta have contracts drawn up.
But I somehow wanted to guarantee that I was going to get laid at 75, and then I hit 75 and found out I really didn't give a shit.
Yeah. So. I'm at the age where I like sex, but I want to watch Nick at Night first.
I'm watching this show called Genius that they have, in which they're doing the life of Picasso, played by Antonio Banderas. It's very good, by the way, if you get a chance to see it. And he was a horny little bastard till the day he fucking died.
Oh, didn't he have like a 13-year-old wife or something at the end, or something like that?
He was just, and I'm amazed because in his 80s he was like, I think, still going strong.
Yeah.
And he had wives.
Well, look at Anthony Quinn. Oh, you go. Right.
Yeah.
Look at Anthony Quinn. He had like 114 kids, age 2 to 76.
On the show, his then wife, when he's looking over this woman that he's kind of getting hot for, his wife looks at him and says, "You want to paint her, don't you?"
Yeah, I like to paint her. Goldfinger style.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Some of that wonderful...
Here's a horny little bastard, horny little abstractian.
Yeah.
Abstractian or whatever.
Yeah. I just... it would be nice if when you get older, people would take you more seriously. But apparently they don't anymore, so... fuck them all.
At this point, I don't give a shit.
I've just decided I'm playing the bitter card, and I can get away with it. Oh, he's just old because he's just bitter because he's old. Yeah, right. Good. Now,
yeah.
Wait till you reach my age. You're going to get bitter too, and you'll find out why if you live as long as me. I see all the
old coot badge, and you better wear it proudly.
See all these other people dropping dead around me, and I'm just going, what? You know? I mean, hey, that was my favorite.
That's why I go on Facebook to see political arguments and to see who died.
Well, no, but I mean, but the people who are dying are like your idols, I mean, how many Beatles are left? Yeah,
2, and the 2 I don't even give a shit about.
That's right. And how many Rolling Stones are left? I think they're all dead. They just look like they're alive.
They just stuff them and send them on their way.
I often said about the Rolling Stones, girls would go, oh, they're so dreamy, they're so sexy, oh, they're so hot. And I go, if you met them in a dark alley in New York City at midnight, coming down the other way, you go running in the other direction.
That's why I liked them. They were so ugly. They just like
really?
The Devil's Rock and Roll Band.
And Richards is like an old piece of driftwood now. He's
an old tree face. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I mean, he's got the most character of any of them in his face. Because he didn't give a shit about how he looked.
Oh, he's my inspiration to never exercise. Look at him and Donald Trump. They're my inspiration to never exercise.
Can I quote you on that?
If I have to cross the street, drive. Don't walk.
And probably to do lots of smack as well. Oh, boy. Look what happened. We lost him. I got to call him back. That happens every now and then. It seems to happen with him more often than it happens with Bubs.
What happened?
I don't know. Skype went bad
Let's
on
continue.
me.
We had a moment there, and then it got ended. We'll splice. They'll never know.
Now, you see, I'm old, so I don't know where we left off. You'll have to tell me.
We were talking about Keith Richards and how he's my inspiration to never exercise. See, I'm only 62. I remember things.
From 5 minutes ago.
I have no short-term memory. I remember nursery school, but I don't remember 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. But, I hate seeing these people that I often cared about dying. It's like, it's bad enough you hear about a friend dying.
But when it's
Yeah.
like one of these people you grew up with because they sang or they were in the movies or they were doing some accomplishment that you admired, and now they're dead, you're going, geez,
Yep.
you know. My old
Well, look at Johnny Winter and Robin. I lost both of them within 2.5 weeks of each other, so that was like 2 punches to the face.
And-
Okay, well, I can't hang out with them anymore. Okay.
I mean, I married a woman close to my own age. She's about 2 years younger than I am, and looks a great deal younger than that. But you know, it is kind of one of those waiting games where we just look at each other and say, which one of us is going to die first?
Yeah.
You know, it's not like who's going to leave the other first. It's who's going to die on the other one first.
Exactly. Who's going to wake up and the other one won't be moving?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take bets.
Yeah, every now and then, you know, she's sleeping, and she's so still. I begin to worry. So I like, you know, I kind of touch her to see if she's still warm, you know. And yeah, she is. And she's just sleeping heavy. Yeah, but
Yeah. Make sure, put a mirror in front of her. See if it
Yeah.
fogs up, she's okay.
is this depressing, everybody? I hope so. Go fuck
How about
yourselves,
that?
everybody, because
Oh, death and grief and sorrow and murder.
I'm an old coot, and although somebody said Alex is like just a grouchy old man, and somebody said you should have heard him 20 years ago. He was the same way.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember when he was a grouchy middle-aged man.
Well, no, I made my living being a grouchy man. You know, I complained about everything. Yeah. So, what bothers you these days?
What bothers me? Oh, man, the state of the world, everything. Nothing's really bothering me at the moment. Just getting older and waiting for that stroke. But other from that, just I'm trying to enjoy every day.
Yeah, but I mean,
So,
like, for instance...
I'm not enjoying the tooth extraction I will be going through next week, but other from that,
tooth
things
extraction.
are okay.
By the way, just if this makes you feel any better, have you ever had a tooth pulled?
I've had several of them pulled, and I got a few more coming up.
There is less trauma. There's less trauma to your mouth extracting a tooth than drilling into it.
That's true. I did. I had a major root canal. I had 2 root canals one night, like early in the evening, and then went on stage at the Improv right after that. Had no problem.
Yeah.
So, teeth. I have no problem with my teeth. They numb me. You can do anything you want.
Yeah.
And my eyes, on the other hand, I've been bodily thrown out of eye doctors' offices because
Really?
I'm so sensitive. My teeth, you can hit them with a hammer.
What do you mean?
Numb me out, do
Wait a
anything
minute.
you want.
You're sensitive at the eye doctor?
Oh, yeah. I once got a sty on my lid, and he tried to lift it up. No, that's my eye. Ah! Well, I'll give you some cream. No cream. Oh, get out.
What
Get
is-
it out.
Wait a minute. What is with you? You're
Oh,
crazy.
man, because you got a lot of teeth. You only get 2 eyes. If they fuck those up, you're screwed, man. You're going to be singing Golden Lady in a subway somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. You know, these guys are professionals. They know how to play with your eyes and not break them. You know?
I don't trust them. None of them.
You don't
They're
trust them?
touching my eyes. It's like, look, you could be a professional valet, and I'm not giving you my car. I don't give a shit. I drive it. If I'm dying, I'm driving myself to the hospital.
Really? Son of a bitch. Yeah, no,
But that's just me.
I don't mind the eye doctor. I had them do. I had 2. What do you call it? 2. What do you call it? Cornea operation or whatever those things are. Where they replace the lens, and you don't feel a damn thing. You don't feel anything. They deaden the eye.
Do they
and
put
go,
you out, or are you awake, or what happens?
you're awake. You see the doctor there.
You're
and you
awake,
see it
and
goes.
they-
Then
oh,
at
man.
one point it goes completely dark. That's when they've removed the old lens, and then he puts in the new lens, and bingo, you're seeing fine. You're seeing better than you did before the thing. And then it takes about a week for it to. You have to be careful for about a week. You put a cup over your eye overnight, and then you put some drops in the rest of the time, and then you're fine. It's simple.
Yeah, no unicycling for a week.
And
So,
now I have.
nobody's touched. Nobody. Ooh.
Well, I have better eyes now than God gave me. Okay? I mean,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, you have the procedure done, whatever. You see better, but nobody's touching my eyes.
No,
unless
but-
my sight is in trouble, then maybe.
but the the replacement lens, I can see better. I can read from a distance better now. All the way around, my vision is better, and of course I don't have that little. It was getting foggy in the middle of my vision.
Yeah.
But I mean, that operation used to be an operation that would take weeks to recover from, and now it's something that overnight you recover from it. So don't worry about
your head off and reach in with the jaws of life.
I don't want to lose teeth. That's what I don't like losing. So I've got one tooth that's loose. It's been loose for years, and it gets a little gamey sometimes, but. For the most part, I haven't lost it yet. I had another one that got loose. What these were root canals that went bad, right? And so I had a tooth that went loose, and I just let it keep getting looser and looser and looser and looser. One day, I find that the crown had fallen off the tooth. And I went to my doctor, and I said, the crown fell off my tooth. And she looked in there, she said, no, that's your tooth. The thing had self-extracted and saved me $900. Because that's what an extraction would have cost. So I'm waiting for this one to self-extract.
I got 4 that have to come out, and then they're going to have to give me a partial. And then I'm officially an old guy. I put my teeth in before I have my cream on.
How do you pay for this? Because it's awfully expensive.
My insurance is covering everything except the crown, and the crown is like 1/3 of what it would be normally. So, but that's coming last.
Well, wait a minute. What kind of insurance do you have?
Medi-Cal.
Oh, Medi-Cal. Oh, wow, that's great.
Covers most of my dental and my because
like for instance,
the other week, and that covers that. Yeah.
But Medicare, for instance, doesn't cover dental. But Medicaid does.
Medicare just covers a stubbed toe, and that's about it.
No, Medicare covers a lot, and then I just got I got the SAG-AFTRA for my supplemental. I got SAG-AFTRA covers me now. And that's the best, man. All my pharmaceuticals are like 1/3 less than they were. But anyway, Medi-Cal.
I just go see Mike the Turk on 12th Street for mine.
Medi-Cal sounds like a good deal.
It is a good deal.
Yeah.
Covers everything except the crown. The crown is going to be like only $600 for the whole thing, so that's good.
Yeah.
So I'm not crazy about having 4 teeth pulled, but I didn't want these other 3 pulled. I said, well, there's like an infection. If we don't pull them, it's going to go to your brain. I guess I got to kiss those teeth goodbye.
Well, I had 2 teeth.
I'm crazy enough.
I had 2 teeth pulled, and I replaced them with an implant. If this one goes way in the back eventually, I don't know if I'm even going to do anything about it. I might get a little temporary clip-in denture because so far back that they say you get used to it, but it isn't needed. So it's for rending meat off the carcasses of raw animals when I was a caveman.
There you go. Yeah, the Ted Nugent diet.
Yeah, the Ted Nugent diet.
Shoot it. Eat it. Shoot another one. Eat another one.
Was there ever a time when you liked Ted Nugent?
No, I never liked his music.
Okay, good. I didn't
even before he opened his mouth. It never did shit for me. And then I liked Journey to the Center of the Mind with the Amboy Dukes, but that was it. And he didn't even write that. Yeah. And they never did anything for him. And then he started opening his mouth. This guy's a cartoon character, man.
Yeah. He's amazingly bad.
His music is just high school Sid, because Johnny Winter could tune up better than Teddy.
Do you listen to anybody new? Do you listen to any artists that are new?
No. It's sad. In fact, the Gibson Guitar Company is going bankrupt now because nobody's playing guitar anymore.
Really? I didn't know it was going
nearly nobody new that does it for me or I'm listening to it.
So then there'll be
the old dead guys.
There'll be no more Les Paul guitars?
I guess they'll make them, but I don't know what's going to happen. I just read that Gibson is filed for bankruptcy, Chapter 11.
That's too bad.
Nobody's buying no more Guitar Heroes anymore. Well, they don't want to hear.
Our time here is over. And of course, that's
already.
That's what the good Lord will say one of these days. Your time here is over, and He's going to stop the stream, and I'm going to just go on to the great beyond or whatever.
Hey, Alexander Graham Bell said to his wife on his wedding night, "What do you mean my 3 minutes are up?" Jack Carter, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's do this in a couple of weeks, okay?
I'm around, Daddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Pearl.
Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GABA, the Great American Broadcast Network.
And there he was, Stephen Pearl, our good friend, and we love him. He's one of our old friends, our oldest and dearest friends, who would still talk to me. I have Sophie. I'm just, hey, I'm just a grouchy old guy. That's all there is to it. Let's be honest about it. That's what I become, and that's why nobody listens to this fucking thing. And I have no idea why I do this every night. I've gotten to the point where I go, is this worth my time? You know, a couple hundred people watch it, right? I don't know how many listen to it in various forms. But, you know, we used to do a lot better on it. And I'm just wondering, the lines are open, by the way. I don't expect anybody to call tonight. I'm getting to the point where it's just very frustrating. I go, you know, I used to do a show for 20,000 people in the morning, 30,000 people in the morning, and now I'm doing it for 200. You know, I'm 300, something like that. I don't know. Is it worth it? You know, I guess if some of you are enjoying it, then it's worth it. You know, that's what I think. You know, if there are a couple of people out there who are getting a good time out of this and think it's all right, then maybe there's, you know, there's some worth in it. But I don't see it, you know. And I maybe have to change what I do here, or my way of doing it, my modus operandi, as it were. And, you know, the question is, should I, what should I do? How should I change it? I've thought about taking this thing down to one night a week. Like on Fridays or something like that, and but that that goes against what I'm trying to do with the whole thing. It's just that I just don't think there's any place for what I do anymore in this world, and for people to appreciate what I do. And I don't know if I do it anymore, to tell you the truth. I mean, I have a feeling that I'm just sitting here, like right now, I'm just kind of spinning my wheels, waiting for somebody to call, hopefully. And then we get like a handful of people. We used to get like full houses all the time, and now that's not the case any longer. And I'm just wondering where the audience is going and where they've gone, and why why we should even be here, you know. So I'm beginning to make decisions that I'm going to have to do some kind of major change around here, and one of them might be that I'll just stop doing a show. I won't stop Jack from doing his show or Damien from doing his show, but I think there just may be a nice blank space in there for a while, because I just, you know, I mean, I like to perform for an audience, and also when we have the thing called the citizen panel, I like participation, and if I'm not getting a decent amount of participation, then is it worth it? Is it worth my time? And is it worth your time to even make it something to listen to? Well, here's an old friend who I know always bails me out when nobody's calling, or I think nobody's calling, and his name is Tom Yamaguchi. Hello, Tom. You're moving.
Hey, Alex. Let me see if I can move into a position where I don't have that glaring light behind me. And
let's see here.
I don't know.
Yeah. There you go.
On my bed.
I can see it's still daytime outside where you are.
It is still daytime.
Yeah, it's night. It's nighttime here.
Yeah, it's 7:33.
Yes,
and,
which is
and the sun is still up.
Yeah, and then as your sun goes down, if like Renee calls, we can see the sun still being up in Hawaii.
That's right. Yeah. It's still. Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, you sound a little depressed tonight.
Yeah, I am. I don't know. I just, you know, I look at the numbers lately, and they're low, and I don't know why, and I'm wondering if it's worth keeping on doing. You know, I've often said, please tell me when it's time to leave the stage. I don't want to be one of these people embarrassing myself doing a show, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I tweeted your full interview with Jack Garfien over the weekend.
Yeah.
In fact, I actually tweeted the links to two of your videos. I thought I'd rewatch your old Burning Man video because of the we've lost the founder of Burning Man,
Larry Harvey,
the weekend.
Yeah, Larry Harvey.
So I watched that again. It is very good.
The documentary,
it's a lot of fun. the Birdie Man video from '96.
Yep.
And so I tweeted the link of that. So had about 4,000 views. So maybe you'll get a few more. So
you got 4,000 views on it?
No, you have 4,000 views.
It is the second. Oddly enough, it's the second highest number viewed video that I put up on YouTube, and it is the highest that I've ever done on Vimeo. On Vimeo, I did something like 7,000 on that, and I think it's 4,000 something maybe on YouTube, and. It's strange what videos of mine have done well. My wedding is number 4. Number 1 is my remembrances of Ibiza in the old days. That thing has gotten like 4,300 hits on YouTube, which is not phenomenal, by the way. You know, when we talk about the interview with Jack, you know, if Jack got a lot of people watching. We have about 466 as of right now on Facebook who have watched it. But really, that interview should have thousands. You know,
it probably will. I mean, it probably. I mean, let's face it. You're not doing any publicity really.
Mm-hmm.
You're not promoting it. I mean, you know, what do you expect? It's going to take a while, but eventually people are going to discover it. We just need, you know, if people are out there that are listening and want to promote it, it's very easy to do. Yeah. I mean, it's easy to share a link from YouTube on your Twitter or your Facebook. Either way.
It's called retweeting or on Facebook it's something else. What? Sharing.
Hit the share button. And I've got my Twitter set up, so anything I post on Twitter automatically posts on Facebook too.
I have it the other way around. So
you can do it the other way around.
Yeah.
I set up a memorial page for my late housemate on Facebook, and actually the posts I do there actually come and post on my Twitter as well.
Now, you see, here we are, you and I talking. It's very nice. I love you, Tom, and it's great to have you on. But by this time, many months ago, we would have had 4 or 5 people already. You know?
That's true. Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on either, you know. And maybe if I just take the show off for a while, people will miss it, and then when I come back on, they'll find it interesting again or something. I don't know. You know?
Or they'll forget all about you. I don't know. I think doing it less times a week actually might do more harm than good.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to do a shorter show.
That's a possibility. That's a possibility.
And go back to maybe 5 days.
If it's just you and me by 11 o'clock, I'm cutting this thing off. You know, not that I don't enjoy it.
I better get in everything I want to talk to you about.
Well, let's start in on what you want to talk about, and let's see if anybody else calls, and if nobody else calls, then fuck them all. You know?
Okay. Sure. So I noticed that you've been sort of bringing up Trump's interest in the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize.
Yeah. Which definitely I want to see him get, because I want those people at the Nobel Prize Committee to have to put up with him. You know, that would be fun to watch.
Well, I just have a question. Let me turn off my email. It's making a lot of noise here. I don't know if you could hear that.
Yeah, whenever. That's an iPhone, right? That's doing it?
No, this is my MacBook, my MacBook Air.
Mm-hmm.
Let me turn off. It's dinging, and so I don't know if you can hear the dinging.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I just was curious if you actually know how the Nobel Peace Prize is actually selected.
Well, I don't know the actual method of it, but there is a awards committee, isn't there, who vote on this?
Well, there is, but there's also, to be nominated, there's a nomination process.
Okay, so how do you get nominated?
The way you get nominated is a previous winner of the Peace Prize can nominate you. So they get a nomination a year. So, for instance, the American Friends Service Committee won the Nobel Peace Prize back in the late 40s. So that, for their relief work in World War II.
Yeah.
Or post-World War II. And so as a Quaker, I could actually suggest someone to the American, or the AFSC, the American Friends Service Committee, for a, consider nominating a person.
Right.
So I decided...
Now, this is not for the person to win. This is just for a nomination.
Nomination that was possibly selected, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the Service Committee asked people who, I think they should win we should nominate for the Nobel Prize. So I figured this year, just to piss off Trump, I'm gonna suggest Stormy Daniels. And if she wins, you can thank me.
Well, I mean, to begin with, the bad taste in it all is you don't go out and ask for a Nobel Prize.
Well, that's probably what Trump
it's not like you're trying to go out and get an award, and you're like the Oscars, they advertise everywhere.
Or your consideration.
Yeah, it's not for your consideration, Donald Trump.
Yeah, but put an ad in the LA Times.
Yeah, but that's what's been happening.
Well, he thinks that's how it does. He probably thinks Obama went to the committee and says, "Hey, give me an award." Says, "Okay, we'll give the award to the black guy."
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I questioned whether Obama should have gotten it. Okay,
well,
he didn't have a body of work yet at that point.
Well, he didn't ask for it, obviously, and once he gets it, I mean, what is he going to do? Turn it down?
No. But I'm saying that I never got the logic behind it, because there was no action that he did. He was still, I think he was only in his first term as president, and early on,
they actually were pretty open, and why they awarded the Nobel Prize is because of his interest in denuclear, lowering the number of nuclear weapons.
Right.
And he was actually working with a treaty with Russia, which eventually passed.
Yeah.
So their idea was this was some kind of push for him to make good on his promise. Because he was in college, he was a very big anti-nuclear activist. He was in the nuclear freeze movement back in the 80s. But that was their idea. And of course, the thing is with the Nobel Prize people, I don't think they understood really American politics. And they probably thought that they were helping him, but I think they really hurt him. And I think that a lot of the hurt showed in the midterm elections, because a lot of the resentment, this black man got something he didn't deserve, we're going to, show him.
Yeah.
So I think it definitely did hurt him, and I think he probably shouldn't have won it. It would probably have been better if he hadn't won it. But somebody nominated him, and what was he going to do? He accepted the award, he made a great speech, and then he donated the money.
Yeah.
So,
Do you think Trump's going to donate the money if he were to get well, he's not. There's no way he's getting a Nobel Prize. Okay?
No.
To begin with, I was saying last night that the football player with the rings in his nose, who went to
Kaepernick? Huh? He doesn't have rings in his nose. Colin Kaepernick?
No. I'm talking about the guy who went to North Korea and played basketball.
Oh, basketball. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he don't want to do no war.
Yeah, he should probably
too.
Get if it's because of North Korea, he should get it before Trump. He set the whole ball in motion.
Yeah. Well, what I'm if it's still too early to see how this thing is going to play out.
Yeah.
And once again, maybe the Nobel Committee might decide it's they're worth writing the Nobel Prize for the Korean situation, because it might spur more activity to lead to peace.
Dennis Rodman, by the way,
is the name
That's
we were trying
right.
to think of. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody.
Now, but he, when he was there, he gave Kim Jong Un. He said a couple of books by Donald Trump or about Donald Trump. He said, so here you can get a better idea of who he is and what it's all about and so on. And he said that I think he probably had more to do with it than Trump ever had to do with it.
Well, what I was going to say was, I think that.
And by the way, we dismissed Rodman at the time, but in retrospect, maybe he wasn't as nuts as we thought he was.
Oh yeah.
Now somebody's trying to call in, but they're calling in on the wrong line. Jeez Almighty. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think that it's more likely that Kim, North Korea, and Moon in South Korea are more likely to share the prize together. Thinking about, like, remember when the Vietnam War,
right?
Henry Kissinger and Lee Duc-tho.
Yeah.
They didn't award it to Nixon. They awarded Kissinger and Lee Duc-tho. So I would say that's probably a more likely scenario here as well.
Yeah.
So but I just wanted to just let you know my little knowledge of the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah. Well, here's Ray Renati, by the way. We've been joined by Ray Renati. Where is he? There. He's coming up. There we go. Hi, Ray.
Hey, Alex.
How are you?
Yeah, that was me calling the wrong line because I had to reinstall Windows, and my Skype was not connecting to the
was not Skyping correctly. Yeah. But getting back to this, I mean, over the weekend I was saying how much it bothered me, this whole thing with Trump asking for the Nobel Prize. I mean, it's not something you ask for, I'm sorry.
No, I know.
It's something that is given to you because a bunch of people thought you should get it. And the only reason he wants it is because Obama got one.
Right.
He thinks they give them out like they give out taffy at the beach, and then they don't. You got to do something. Think of the people whose names are inscribed in that book, names like Martin Luther King or the American Friends Committee, the Quakers, or any number of people who have worked towards peace. There's also a Nobel Peace Prize for medicine and chemistry and so on. There are a lot of other awards as well. But we tend to think of the Peace Prize as the big award of the evening, when it really shouldn't be. I think somebody's ability at medicine or something like that should be just as lauded as somebody who goes out and fights for peace, because peace is a very tentative thing, and that peace you might have achieved 5 years later might no longer be peace any longer, Right. Whereas if you create a medicine that saves lives, it's probably going to continue to save lives for a great many years to come.
Yeah. Well, there are campaigns. We're talking about campaigns for Oscars or Emmys or whatever. There are campaigns to get organizations to nominate somebody. I remember last year's when he was alive, there was a big organized campaign to get Pete Seeger the Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
And they were actually lobbying a whole bunch of people.
I don't know. Yeah, Pete Seeger. That'd be a hard call for me. And I knew Pete. I knew Pete, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, it's too late now. He's dead.
Yeah, and it's kind of something that it impacts the world, not just one area. And he pretty much, if he impacted anywhere, it was the United States. Okay. But I just got a thing here. This was the latest. I keep getting these messages. Somebody named Jeff Silva said, "Bummer did nothing." What, to get the award? He didn't do much. Let me put it that way. But if it pissed off Trump, I was happy. But anyway, this just in from the New York Times. Rudy Giuliani said President Trump reimbursed his lawyer, Michael Cohen, for the $130,000 paid to Stormy Daniels.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter, too. He was on Sean Hannity's show, supposedly.
Yeah.
Or he was on Sean Hannity. I want to have to watch Sean Hannity.
No.
But that's what he said. So he's obviously directly contradicting what Trump said.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
I don't understand that one. You know, all of a sudden, why does Giuliani say this? You know, I mean, what's his motive? What he's doing by saying that is making the president a bold-faced liar. So how does that benefit the president? Or is Giuliani losing his fucking mind?
Hasn't Giuliani always done things like that, though? Kind of, you know, turned on people. Didn't he do that to somebody else but 10, 15 years ago?
But it's an injudicious comment that he just made, considering he is one of the president's current lawyers. At least,
I know. It's crazy.
As of the last hour and a half, because they change daily.
Yes.
You know, because I know exactly what Trump's problem is that he keeps firing people and hiring people till he gets people that agree with him.
Yeah.
In other words, he doesn't want somebody to come in, be the expert, and tell him, do this, don't do that, this is good, this is bad, no, if you do that, that'll be wrong. He wants somebody who's going to come in and just come back to him and say, oh, yeah, you can do that. You know.
Yeah.
And then people quit on him, too.
Yeah.
I was just telling my wife today, if he was a dictator in another country, you would just have people killed. Like they do.
Yeah.
Just purge them.
Right.
Well, you know, I mean, I think the man's lost his mind.
Oh, yeah.
I really think that the call to Fox was a distress call for help for his mental stability.
That was the most bizarre thing I've heard in a long time.
In fact,
the Fox people were uncomfortable.
They were so uncomfortable they dumped him. They got rid of him. They said, "Thank you very much, Mr. President." Bye. You know, because
I know.
They felt if he kept talking.
You know, you have a lot of work to do there in the Oval Office.
Well, I love here.
What are you doing calling us?
Okay, let me be very direct about this, and I know the women in the audience will be appalled at the language I'm going to use here. But let's face it, Donald Trump is married to a real piece of ass. Okay? Right?
Yeah.
She is a gorgeous woman in a very kind of plastic sense. Okay? You know, I don't know how much of it is real. Okay? But nevertheless, as trophy wives go, you know, she's the ornament on a Rolls Royce. Okay? So, she's just a beautiful woman, and it's her birthday, and they said, so what did you get her? And his reply was, I got her a card. Now, I
think he was lying about that because it took him a while to say something. He's like, well, I got a card. I got her a card.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but it was my wife's birthday, and all I got her was a card, I would never hear the end of it, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't understand. Hey, it's getting warm in here finally. I may have to turn on the air conditioner for the first time this year. Oh, boy. I wonder if it'll even start. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just amazing how crazy he's getting. And the second craziest person in the world, and if people didn't see this, you really missed great television, was, what's his name? Oh, God, all of a sudden. My mind is just going. Kim Kardashian's husband.
Kanye?
Kanye West.
Yeah.
Kanye on TMZ. Now, we watch this show every day because we kind of like it. You sit there and they get this gossip about everybody, and it's one of those kind of things that my wife likes to watch because she says when I get home, it lets me unwind. Okay? It's just dumb news, all right?
Yeah, I love it.
And sometimes they have a scoop and scoop everybody. But I happen to like them, and I think they're fun, and the show is fun. Well, the other day they go, we have Kanye West on for the entire hour. Now, they don't normally have a guest on the show. It's news items. But all they had up there was Kanye West live. And Kanye comes on, and I swear, this guy is berserko. All right? Yeah. He is crazy. He does a rant. He starts going nuts on this show. And then there's this guy, Van, on the show, is a black guy, who decided to take him to the cleaners.
and just said, you know, you're full of crap and you're hurting black people with what you're saying, and you don't know history and you have no grasp of what the average person has to go through. And he just took him to the woodshed. And for this went on, at least that part of it, for a half hour, with Kanye standing up and saying, hey, people, you know, I went out and I got plastic surgery so I'd look good for all of you. Oh, well, thank you. And then he goes, and I, because of the pain of it all, I had to take opioids. And that's why I was so crazy a while back. Why are you crazy now? And
because he's getting off opioids.
And for an hour, for at least a half hour of this show, it was this very contentious discussion and interview with a really crazy human being. And I sat there and watched it, and I said, thank God, finally, at last, I can turn on my television set and see something real. Because what was going on there was not fake. You know, it was the real deal. And it was real drama. And it was real meltdown on his part. You know one of the things he said? He said, black people were in slavery for 400 years, so they must, essentially he said they must have liked it. You know,
slavery is a choice.
Slavery was a choice. There were so many of us, why didn't we rise up? Well, there were 6 million Jews. Why didn't they rise up? Because when the bad guy wants to take you down and put you under his thumb, it's called putting you under his thumb. He puts you in a position where it's very difficult for you to be able to fight back because you don't even have the gumption to do so. Just stupid stuff like that. He went, I don't want Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. She's too ugly. You know, we should put, and he named some basketball star on the $20 bill. We should put Wilt Chamberlain on the $20 bill or something like that. I mean, just moronic stuff. And, you know, I don't know how this is playing in the black community, but, you know, that's who he sells his fucking records to.
Yeah. It's not playing well. I was listening to a couple of video podcasts today, that black people, and they are really pissed at him.
Well, they should be. You know? I mean, he had no concept of what went on before he was born, you know?
Yeah.
So, it was amazing.
Yep.
It was just
amazing. It is amazing.
So the question is, who's crazier, Kanye West or Donald Trump? I think they're both having mental breakdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're both batshit crazy.
And I think that people in the White House know how, what can we call it? How sensitive things are there. How on a tether's edge we are with this guy, who could, I mean, he could ask this stuff be done, and it's done. You know, his word is somewhat gospel. But if he said drop the bomb somewhere, they would probably have to drop the bomb, wouldn't they? Or is there somebody in between that can stop it?
I think there's somebody that can stop that. You know. I think that's why you really would start. Ooh, we lost Ray?
We lost Ray, but here he is. He's calling back, so it's not a problem.
I was saying we might have the 25th Amendment coming to play then.
Yeah.
You know, when we get to that.
Right. Is anybody else going to call us tonight, by the way, or is this it? Is this what it's come to? I mean, not that these aren't two of the best callers I have. Okay, so I'm very lucky about that. You know.
That's right,
so
Alex.
I am not unfortunate in that respect. So let me just say that. I don't want you to think that I'm saying, well, it's only Tom and Ray. No, thank God it's
Phil and Pat.
Well, Phil's got his camera thing tonight where he keeps trying to win awards for pictures he took 30 years ago.
Oh yeah,
and,
scuba diving.
Yeah, scuba diving, and then I don't know where everybody else is. I have no idea. Kevin, you out there? Rescue me. Jeff? Well, Jeff's out in California right now, so I don't know if he's, you know.
Santa Barbara,
yeah.
John came to my play. That was amazing. I saw him there. I'm like, I knew him, like, but I'm only used to seeing him on my computer screen with a little black background. I'm like, why do I know you? I'm like, it took me a couple minutes to figure out who he was.
Yeah. So the play's all over with now?
Well, here, but the director, producer person is from New York, and she has all kinds of contacts there. So we might get to do it off Broadway at a company in New York.
Oh, wow. Would that mean you come to New York?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then you could come see me.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm going to be there in October, nevertheless.
Well,
so.
let's set something up and let's have lunch or something, you know.
Yeah, my good friends get married, so I'll be there in October, if not before.
Yeah. So.
I hope we get to do the show there. That'd be so great. It's a great play. She did a great job.
What are you typing out?
I was playing drums with my ruler.
Oh, I see. It sounded like you were using your keyboard.
No.
Oh boy. Yeah. So, and you know what I don't get there a lot about people watching the show. Why aren't you guys calling? How do I get newer callers? That's another question.
They're shy to call and stuff like that. A lot of people are too shy to do stuff like that.
Well, most people, you know, when you're doing a talk show, you know, you maybe have a certain bunch of callers that call all the time, but most people never call a talk show. They listen to a talk show, you know. And if they knew how easy this was and how much fun it is, you know, you guys seem to enjoy it when you do it. But Tom doesn't enjoy it so much when Phil's here. I can tell that. Because when I say it's a Phil-free night, first caller, Tom. You know.
I'm used to Phil now. After I got to know Phil, like personally, it doesn't bother anymore because he's a nice guy. He just likes attention.
I think so. But you know, I mean,
he just likes attention.
Do you think that's it? He's an attention.
Yes, I do.
Attention whore.
Yeah.
Well, okay, folks, where are you? I'll go another 15 minutes here, and then I'll give up. You know, I got to figure out what to do. Maybe I got to change the way I do this show. Maybe a different approach. Maybe I was thinking. I came up with the idea the other day of having the show hosted by a puppet. You know, just my regular voice, but a puppet.
Like Howdy Doody.
Yeah, just
it's
a puppet.
Alex Bennett Show.
The Alex Bennett Show. Hey there, John Poulos. We can barely see you. You're in the dark so much that we can barely see you. There we go. That's a little better.
All right.
But
hi, everybody.
Yeah.
I was just celebrating my 25th anniversary with my wife. I went out and bought her favorite flowers, and we just got home.
Well, you know, we were saying that about Trump. If it was your wife's birthday, and all you got her was a fucking card, how would she react? How would she react?
Well, see, if it was Trump, you know, it was probably like a golden card made out of sheet gold, you know, and see, then it would be different. He has a golden shitter, doesn't he? I mean, it's a golden shitter.
Does he have a golden toilet? So, why would you have a golden toilet? You know, it's not. It's not functional.
Because you can.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know why. Who ever thought that gold was suddenly an important ore? You know, who said that? I mean, I know that we believe diamonds are valuable because a company called De Beers forced that notion on us. You know, the diamonds.
And Tom Shane.
Well,
Tom Shane. Tom Shane is like Girls Shine.
You have a friend in the diamond business.
50 years old or something. You know?
The Shane Company. I knew fourth floor, Bayview Federal Building, 2121 South El Camino, south of Highway 92 in San Mateo.
Is he still doing his commercials?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now you have a friend in the diamond.
Because I knew
Shane Company.
I knew Tom.
He's nationwide.
You did.
What did you say, Tom?
Yeah, he's nationwide. You know.
Is he really?
So,
yeah, he is. I saw the same commercials on TV in Denver. I saw him. He was on TV, not just the radio.
Well, then
it's got to be like 120 by now.
Well, when I knew him, he wasn't any young whippersnapper snapping a whip. You know.
I mean, what the hell?
Yeah. But in case people don't know who we're talking about, there's a guy who sells diamonds on radio. And hello, this is Tom Shane of the Shane Company. It's kind of
I'm looking at his picture now. He's got a spread, like when he was, say, in his early 50s, and then now it looks like he's in his 70s. He's got to be older.
He's got to be older than me, okay? Because when I knew him, he was older than me. Yeah, but
We
anyway,
don't even have his birthday.
all
on
I'm saying about
Wikipedia. What the
diamonds
hell?
is diamonds don't have any real value. They were given value by the De Beers Company.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
know, and so all of a sudden if you say something's worth something, then people want it. But diamonds, I think, in fact, I don't like diamonds. If somebody were to give me a diamond, I go, don't waste your time. In fact, I'm not a big one on jewelry.
Yeah, neither am I.
Yeah, I'm not either.
That's why I have an Apple Watch, because I'm not very hot on jewelry.
I lost my wedding ring. I had it for
no.
24 years, and I designed it myself, and I cannot find it.
I had my ring, and I lost all its weight. And the ring, it was raining outside, and the ring fell off my finger, just fell right off.
Yeah.
And my hands were wet. And so I've had it sitting there. I've got to take it in and have it tightened up. But then I figure I'll tighten it up and I'll gain weight, But,
Hey, Ray,
What?
I haven't had a chance to tell you what a fantastic job you did in that play.
Oh,
you know,
thanks,
I
man.
mean, Ray played 3 or 4 different characters, all different and all just incredibly interesting. And the play was fabulous. You know,
It's
it was
great,
based
isn't
on
it?
Yeah, it was based on a real live story. You know.
We might bring it. She might bring it off Broadway, so that'd be cool.
Answer-
Hopefully,
Yeah.
they'll let us all the same
Yeah.
people. in.
Yeah.
I'm not questioning your motivation in this thing, but why is it always so important when they say based on a true story? Who cares if it's based on a true story? If it's an interesting story, it's an interesting story, and if it isn't, it isn't. Whether it's fake or whether it's real. But it's always like, oh, based on a true story. Oh, well, I better head off to that movie because it's based on a true story.
If I may say, the story itself is very intriguing because the way it was presented to the great-granddaughter was erroneous. It wasn't what really happened. So the play, it pretty much, Ray, if you can back me up on that, is her evolution to reality, to her self-discovery and finding out who these people really were in her distant past. And, you know, so actually, you might say, if more realistically, that the play was based on a myth, on a story that wasn't really true to begin with.
Yeah, it was only partially true.
Yeah,
not even partially. It was just a complete.
I think
it was a twisting of the truth, and I think that the play has a life in the future beyond Kelly. You know, that won't be a part of it, but for her, it was a way for her to understand herself, because it had haunted her since she was a child, and that was why they have that beginning, that really freaky dumb show at the beginning of the play, with the masks and stuff, because that's like the nightmare she used to have.
Well, I think the ultimate was the Coen brothers, who with Fargo said this is based on a true story. And it wasn't. It clearly was not based on any kind of true story. But they got so sick of seeing that happen in films, they decided to put it in there. The following is true, I think it said. And the names have been changed to protect the not the guilty, but to protect the
innocent.
No, to protect the victims.
Well,
yeah.
You know something that made this
But
play,
no, Fargo is a complete fabrication.
But a great movie.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, Academy Award winning. Hey, you know what made Ray's play so cool for me was the music interludes, the way they wove kind of Woody Guthrie-esque folk tunes that kind of gave more life to the story, I think.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you,
those guys were fantastic.
2 excellent musicians.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I was in the initial reading of the play 4 years ago, and there was no music. It was just a narrator. And she's rewritten that thing so many times. It doesn't even resemble what it was 4 years ago, and it's 200% better. And the music just is the icing on the cake. The music makes the play, I think.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%. Yep.
Yeah, she wrote all those songs too.
And she wrote all the songs. Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
You would never believe it if you met her. She's so down to earth.
I hope
she's
that
incredibly talented.
sometime our audience will have the ability to have access to this play. You know. So
yeah, I hope so. I hope
just
I
like
hope,
them. I have
hope,
no idea what you're talking about.
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, the play. Can I give a little bit of plot synopsis, Ray?
If you want, if Alex is okay with it.
Well, the play's about a murder.
It's like two murders.
It's got, 2 murders. It's got everything that Shakespeare would love. You know, murder, sex, jealousy, grief, friendship. It's got everything.
So kind of like the Trump administration.
Yeah, but without missing any depth, you know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. It might come to some kind of TV. I mean, good plays usually end up there. I'm thinking Osage and
August Osage County.
Yeah, August Osage County. You know, got on the screen, and Chicago. Jesus Christ,
August Osage County was written by, if I'm not mistaken, by basically a television actor.
Tracy Letts.
Tracy Letts. He was, in fact, he was on an episode of, I saw him a while back on an episode of Seinfeld.
Really?
Yeah. And he was part of that the theater he still is in Chicago, Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
And he also wrote Superior Donuts, which I played the lead in, and is also a TV show now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which has gotten renewed over and over again. I watched it once or twice and just went, eh.
Yeah, I've never watched it. The play's really good.
Well, the play, it sounds.
I got to play the lead.
It looks like the play would be good because it's a set piece in a donut shop, you know.
Yeah.
And that's great, but when you try to make a series out of it week after week after week, and then you have to broaden it out, I guess, and go to onto the street and stuff like that, you know, it just isn't what you're not buying the play, you know. And maybe some things are just better left alone.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree. Yeah.
So, what's going to happen to us? Are we in deep trouble here with this president? I mean, can he go far enough? Well, he's ruining us in the world, our reputation in the world. There's no question about it.
Yeah. Well, the Italians survived Berlusconi. I mean, Berlusconi is just the mirror reflection of Trump. I mean, he's a total asshole. And you should see some of the antics of Berlusconi, like humping his chauffeur driver in front of the cameras deliberately. I mean, that's the kind of crass, hideous behavior Berlusconi engaged in.
And he's running again, isn't he?
Yeah, he's running for something. I mean,
no, I think he's running for prime minister again, or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw his name surface, but you know, I think Trump's a 4-year guy. The Democrats have to come.
I got news for you though. Gallup recently did some research and came back and said that if he runs again in what is it? What year is it going to be?
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
That he'd win.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, I mean,
I think Bobby Kennedy should run against him. You know, Bobby Kennedy Jr.
Nah.
He looks like a little boy.
No, he's not the boy. It's Bob Kennedy's. Bobby Kennedy's son.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that guy.
No, but he just looks so young. I meant
nobody knows that much about him. I don't know who do you think the Democrats could put up that could give Trump the good run for his money that he deserves.
I'll just say right off, I refuse to talk about the 2020 election until 2019.
No, but what we're talking about here is right now we're creating the bench. You know, and we're creating the people who will wind up running. Okay, and so it isn't so much a matter of prognosticating, but saying who do we have that's strong enough to run, or who will be strong enough by that time to run.
we should be focusing on the midterm elections right now.
That's right.
We're putting, part of the problem with American politics right now is we're just so focused on the presidency, and we see right now, I mean, the president's power is sort of limited. I mean, without the Congress.
But hold on a second. Hold on a second, Tony. Here's the problem we've got. When Obama was president, I didn't hear about Obama every day on the news. He didn't preoccupy the news cycle.
Yeah.
Trump, I wake up every morning and it's Trump did this today. Trump did this today. This is what's happening with Trump this and Trump that. And maybe at the end of the hour, they'll tell you what's happening in Pakistan or something. But, basically, the whole thing is just Trump, 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 because he just likes to monopolize the news cycle. And
it's what's going on is it's the whole situation is such a big disaster. It's a 20-car pileup every day. I mean, how do you ignore that?
Well,
he likes that. It gets him with the attention he wants. I remember the press would complain because Obama would not capitalize, take as much of the news cycle as they wanted. He was, kind of putting himself in hiding too much, and they were not happy about that because he didn't feel the need, I guess.
Well, presidents tend to get the news when they're in office anyway, no matter what they're doing.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, he preoccupies the news cycle. It is. I can't remember any other president, Bush, whoever, who got this much talk on these news shows. And if I were the news people, I'd stop talking about them. If I were MSNBC, if I were the head of MSNBC, I'd say, new rule: we never talk about Trump unless he does something important.
Well, they should definitely stop, carrying his campaign rallies.
Oh yeah,
that's ridiculous. I mean, all he knows how to do is campaign. He doesn't know how to do his job. All he knows how to do is run for the job. He's already running for re-election. It's the whole thing is just silly. They should jump up.
Yeah.
He started campaigning the second week after he became president, I remember.
Yeah.
He went and campaigned the second week. I specifically remember that. He went and did a campaign speech for 2020. Yeah. In Europe, I know England and France, it's illegal. You can only campaign for 8 weeks.
Well, I mean, that's the way it is in a lot of countries. That there's a short election cycle. You start going for it. I mean, we should not even begin to think about it till a year beforehand. Okay, right. But the way but you can bet your life, we're coming up on 2 years next January. In January, we will start seeing the people running for president.
Yep.
Yeah.
What? You know.
And
Oprah.
part of it is because of the money.
Well, look, I agree with Trump about the news business, but for different reasons. I think the news business gins everything up. What's news? It's what they say is news, not what is news.
That's right.
And so consequently, they need things they can gin up, and if they can say, okay, so-and-so's running for president now, let's go to his rally somewhere, they're filling up time. And they're making money, and they're selling time on their networks. I mean, as I say, Trump has been so disrespectful to the press, using, by the way, a Hitler-esque technique, which is to disparage the press so anything they write about you then is fake, okay? Mm-hmm. But he does that, and it's been a big thing on his part, and the press just sits there like a codependent lapdog saying, kick me again. And if I were the news people, I would say, new policy. Trump, you don't want us to talk about you? Then we're not going to. That would drive him berserk.
Yeah, that's a good plan, but unfortunately they're not going to do it.
And why aren't they going to do it?
Because The status quo rules everything.
Because
it rules corporate life. It rules media life. It rules our
and
cultural life.
It's also because Trump being on the air sells,
That's right.
pharmaceuticals.
Shit.
They would all have to agree, and that's not going to happen. So as soon as one of them does it, the other ones just have to jump on the bandwagon and do the same thing. So it'll never happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if they colluded and said, "Okay, we're not going to put them on anymore."
The only way you're going to see the news do something like that is to make another movie like Network. Network made a stab at that. It kind of explored that theme, and then they were successful. The film was successful because it was a film. They were kind of throwing a challenge to the news. So I mean, what do you have? You have shock jocks. That kind of took over radio for a while, and I don't know. I haven't listened to Howard Stern since he went on Sirius. So, and then I just lost interest in him because it's the same thing all the time.
Well,
it hasn't changed in 30 years. It's just boring. Yeah. I listened to it for 5 minutes. I can't take it anymore. It's nothing's different than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I listen to him.
Well, I can't listen to him because it's like looking in a mirror.
Well, he stole your stuff but just turned it into there was no brains behind it anymore, though.
Well, but that's where I made my mistake. I tried to make it somewhat smart, and I think maybe if I had dumbed it down, I would have been far more successful.
Yeah, probably. But then you have to live with yourself.
Never overestimate the intelligence of the American public.
No.
But I mean, the fact. Well, what I didn't like, is that anybody who was on radio who was at all controversial at that point was then referred to as a shock jock. I was referred to as a shock jock, and it always used to annoy me because I wasn't out to shock anybody. I was just out to do the best radio I possibly could to entertain an audience every morning. And yet to be called a shock jock because that was the thing to be called at that time was ridiculous. Yeah. So anybody who was at all controversial, and I don't know, was I controversial, Tom? I don't know.
Occasionally.
Well, you were, but it wasn't shock jock. I mean, you always, like you were honest about your personal life, which I really liked.
Yeah.
You were thoughtful about the things that you talked about, and you also had humor, and sometimes you were crude with the comedians and stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just one thing. Like Howard Stern is just crude. That's all he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all he does is crude shit constantly, and there's nothing else behind it. There's nothing there.
Well,
there's no there.
He's been successful. Those stupid assholes over at Sirius XM still pay him like $75 million a year. And they don't even know if anybody's listening. That's how stupid they are. Because they have no way of finding out how many people are listening to Sirius. So.
Well, because it's over the air.
Do surveys. I remember, I haven't gotten a survey from them in a long time, but they used to send surveys asking people, what stations they were listening to, asking people specifically if they were listening to Howard Stern. So, and I would say, no, don't listen to him, and I put your name on, and who knows?
Yeah, well, thanks, Tom. It did me a lot of good. They certainly listen to you. But I mean, all I'm saying is that the media is in a codependent relationship with this president, and it's like a wife who gets beaten and just keeps saying, "I love him. I can change him. I can change him."
Yeah. Actually, this actually the part of the issue is the nationalization of the media. I mean, we talk about why are local politics or local issues not being carried, and that's because the media has been so nationalized. Like right now where I am, we've got a state assembly race where we've got like almost a dozen candidates running for this one seat. It's getting a lot of attention in the district, but outside
what state, Tom?
Outside of East Bay, who cares, right?
Yeah.
So So we have these cable TV networks that are just so dominating the news right now, and all they can cover is national issues. So that's part of the reason why they're so focused on the presidency.
Well, you're right. You're right. They don't cover local issues. They don't cover local stories. You have to be around at a certain time in the evening when a local station runs the local news, and some of that's terrible because they try to fill it up with local news. So you've got countless stories about cats up trees, But the fact is that. And I don't know why the news networks don't do this, why they don't at the top of the hour take 5 minutes out and have a local person doing the local news for that area,
That's a great idea. Yeah.
And be able to serve that function. Because, what I learned when I was studying journalism and so on in school was that the importance of a news story has to do with proximity. In other words, a news story that you will be interested in, you should be interested in because it affects you personally. Mm-hmm. And the fact is that most of the shit doesn't affect you personally. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no place you can. You can't go down to City Hall and protest it. Nobody's going to hear you crying out in the wilderness to your senators or to your representatives. They get letters every day saying, I'm never going to vote for you again because you did blah, blah, blah. And they go, okay, he'll vote for me again. They don't care. But locally, you have a lot more power, mainly because votes are smaller. The turnouts are smaller. You can win by less. And so a mayor might listen to you. Police chief might listen to the public, especially when they made to look like they were beating up a black guy or something like that. They're trying to make excuses. All these jobs are up for grabs in local areas. Nationally, those guys go to Washington and they turn a deaf ear to their constituency. I don't. The only time they listen to them is when they go back and hold those stupid town meetings and listen to what they have to say, and then they go off and do the same thing over again.
Yeah. Hey, did you see that survey? It was 25 of the most disrespected jobs. Starting number 1 was politicians and congressmen, and number 2, I forgot what 2 was, but it's close.
Probably radio, lawyers. Probably radio announcer. I would imagine.
Oh yeah, it was right.
Local talk show host. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No, what was talk show host on there?
Yeah. Or not? No, radio announcer, I think, or news announcer. That's it.
News announcer.
Television news announcer.
The least respected.
Television, right? It was like congressmen were number 1
because the
TV news anchors.
TV news.
Well, you see, here's what I don't get, because a TV news anchor's job is to make you love him. That's why at the end of every night, Lester Holt says, "And thank you for spending your evening with us." He doesn't care. But he wants to kiss your ass. He wants to be the wholesome host that everybody wants to watch. So I don't understand why they would be that much reviled, because all of them are kissing the ass of their audience. Whereas when it comes to politicians, what they hate about politicians, they know I voted for that guy and now he's not doing a fucking thing.
Yeah. Well, and then there's the whole aspect of the internet and how that affects news. And, I get streaming media journals every day. And, 1/3 of any kind of viewing on a screen is done, on the internet. So that's a huge audience to be away from the television.
It's a huge audience to become ignorant. Because they're getting their they're getting their information from unvetted, secondhand people. They're not, the fact that a guy like who's that Jones, Alex Jones, can even exist is because of the internet.
Yeah.
Because there is no news organization, reputable news organization, that would allow that man to do what he does online. And I'll tell you, if I go on right now and go over to Shoutcast and I look to see who's number 1 on Shoutcast, it's usually Alex Jones. I mean, with tens of thousands of people listening to him.
Yeah, but then there's also worthwhile stuff online, too. You know, I listened to a local economist from St. Mary's College in Orinda, Jack Rasmus, jackrasmus.com.
Yeah.
This guy's an amazing scholar on the economy. He's written books on our financial collapses. I think he's got his fingers on the pulse of what's happening economically in this country, like very few people I hear. So I think it's selective. If you know how to shop around and get good quality news, you'll find it more often on the internet than on the television. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Alex, we still have KSFO out here, which I think is a sister company of KGO, and it's all super right wing, catering to everyone out here who's Trumpish.
Well, there was
it's 24/7 just right wing crap.
Well, right now, it doesn't look like Shoutcast. Not the same list I normally see. For talk, it says MSNBC is number 1, but only with 551 listeners. That's how small the audiences are. God, I'm not worried about how small mine is now. There are only 551 people listening to MSNBC right now. But
how many do we have? Let's see.
We have 25.
25.
25 on the video. But then they watch it later on, although I'm not going to put these shows up anymore on Facebook. I'm not even going to post them.
Really?
I'll post them on gabnet.net, and if people want to go watch them, that's where they can watch them. But otherwise...
Well, YouTube.
What?
It's on YouTube.
Well, it'll be on YouTube automatically. Not the edited show. Not the edited show, but, you know.
You don't need to put them on Facebook.
Well, I put them on Facebook because people go there to check it out, you know. They don't really check it out. They don't, believe it or not, they don't check it out on YouTube. They really don't. I wish I could say they did, but they don't.
You're on TuneIn, right? And Stitcher and all that, too.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, for instance, if I go and see how many people are listening to me in audio, God, it's probably next to nothing.
That's how I always listen.
Yeah, it's like...
it takes less
I think
bandwidth.
there are 13 people listening to the audio right now.
That's pretty cool. Hey, 13 people, thanks for listening.
Yeah, but if I...
Tell your friends about this
and that's one of the reasons...
You'll learn something, I guarantee.
Well,
you listen to this fucking show, you're going to learn something.
Yes. I've considered doing away with the video on the show.
I love it.
No, for that very reason that I want. You know, I started this off as a radio show to begin with, or as an internet talk show, and you know, I put it on video, and everybody's going over to watch the video. They're not listening to the audio. So why am I even running a fucking stream here? You know.
You know, when I listen to audio is when I'm in my car.
Yeah, me too.
Then I put my MP3 player on and I play shows selectively that I want to listen to.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. Like, I got to do that with your Holocaust friend there, Jack. You know, I haven't downloaded those podcasts yet.
Yeah,
that's something that I would listen to.
I never did an audio-only version of that, but we do have the video up on the Gabnet page, also on... also on Facebook, and also on Roku, both the Roku channels that I have it as well. So it's any one of a number of different places. Yes, Tom.
Yeah, well, we've discussed this before, but you know, I think Albert had the right idea what you were trying to do here with the internet. It was primarily an audio stream or program that had a video aspect to it. So primarily it's audio, but having the video and available to people who can watch it, I think adds a lot of value, that people can see us. You know, it's not necessary, but it's attracting people, and I think it would be a big mistake to give up the video.
I agree.
Well, I just don't know if it isn't, but I question whether it's a waste of time for me. You know.
Oh yeah.
Alex, what? I forget the guy's name who almost committed suicide. You know, he stole his father's gun. You know, you had that guy. You featured a video.
Yeah.
See, I think I would on this show, your show. I'd like to see more of that kind of stuff. You know, because then what you're doing is you're.
I think Tom once said to me, "You should be doing more stuff like that," and I said, "I hope I don't have to." You know, I hope that life is better than that. That we don't have to. The fact is that kind of thing.
Not like
yeah,
that.
but you know, those kind of things. That particular thing dropped into my lap. I can't remember, how did I get it? Who turned me on to it? Somebody turned me.
Oh, it was the guy in the wheelchair. What's his name?
Patrick.
Patrick. Yeah.
And so I was so taken back by it, and because it was right after what happened in Florida with the school shooting, that I felt it was an important piece for people to hear, and so I played that. Yeah. And also just the way it was shot, and the black and white, and him just looking right into the camera and telling the story about how he almost wound up taking a gun to school and shooting kids and so on.
Well, see, what I did with that show
let me finish what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
So that fell into my lap, okay, and I seized the opportunity because I saw the value in it. Well, those things don't happen every day. And something with that much dramatic appeal, if I were to say, well, what am I going to do tonight to do dramatic appeal? So, you know, I'll find some other guy doing something, you know, then it loses its value. You know, it had value because I did it that one night, and it was strong. Would you agree, Tom, with what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you can't force the cards.
Well, actually, I have a different idea right now, and I've mentioned this before. I think that the idea that you have the citizen panel has a lot of potential to it, and I think the potential is the fact that people can come on and talk about what's going on in their lives, talk about their own personal experiences. And I mentioned this before, about 5 or 6, actually 2009, I just turned off cable TV news. And I got
that way too. And I'm getting that way again.
You know, somebody on the left arguing, you know, somebody Democrat arguing.
No, here's what every hour is like. You start off, they have the lead story. They have somebody, one of the reporters, report the lead story, and then they come back to the studio, and it's the host with like 2 or 3 people as a panel, and then they discuss it for 10 minutes, and then they go on to another story with another 3 people. I mean, it's the same thing over and over again, hashing the same things. And if you go, and then also you get to pick and choose what opinion you want to suit your needs so that you feel fulfilled and that your misguided opinion is correct. So if you're on the left, you go over to MSNBC, and if you're on the right, you go over to Fox, and both of those places are going to massage you. You know, and yet MSNBC can yell as much as they want to, and they're never going to take a right winger and convert any of them, or even get any of them to listen to them. And the same is true of Fox with the left wing. So we're so polarized that these stations have absolutely no news value because they have no objectivity. They're out, they have an agenda, they have an audience they perceive they're playing to, and that's what they do, and they're constantly jerking that audience off.
Yeah. And the reality is that, you know, we as human beings are really complex, and some of my opinions are conservative, some of them are liberal. And as we have a discussion, you know, those nuances and that depth has a potential of coming out. Yeah. So as I said, you know, I think that there's a lot that can be done with this. That, you know, hopefully will, you know, and when people come on, let's say, you know, where, you know, one night somebody came on and would talk about they were living in the same town or they were living near Parkland, where the shooting took place, and that's what I was responding to. You know, I was saying, yeah, this is great when you actually have somebody there on the scene, an average person, saying what this is, how this is affecting.
Well, we had that guy that night who doesn't ever call the program outside of that time,
when he called us and he took his camera out at night and went to the school and showed you all the people, the flowers and stuff that people had put on the fence and so on. And in real time, we were getting a real sense of the situation. Again, that's something that fell into my lap, and I like programs to be organic, and for that kind of thing to happen, maybe more often than it does, but happen naturally and organically, rather than because I sent out a producer to plan it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I think you're making a good argument for serendipity, and when that happens, it's magical. And I was going to say, if I didn't value the show, I wouldn't talk about it. But I always talk about it to my friends, and I've met some incredible people here. I mean, I'm very happy to have reconnected with you, Alex. I didn't even know you were doing this until Michael Pritchard, my neighbor, started blabbing about it. And I said, holy shit, Alex Bennett has got a show. And so I went and I searched, and that's how I found you. And, you know, Ray, fantastic talent, play. I'm going to hang out with Phil now. You know, I didn't get a chance to talk about our big date, but, you know, I invited him in July 21. I'm going to be directing a multicam shoot of Dragon House. You know, it's our San Francisco's version of UFC. It's MMA kickboxing. We sit right next to the cage. I invited Phil. He's going to come there with his camera. You know, it's going to be an amazing thing. And, you know, when you meet these guys, like I met Ray, and my wife and I met Ray in person, you know, then it becomes really real. And I talk about this. I blog about it on Facebook and, you know, my social media experience. So this show has value. I think you just have to publicize it in some way and talk about it. Everybody has to talk about it.
I'll tell you, my weak set is in the use of social media. There are people who know how to use social media to get an audience, but you have to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and start sending out tweets like crazy. You know, and go out, and it's literally like running for political office, as it were.
Well, you could do a Facebook ad campaign. I just did one for my video business. I haven't got any calls from it, but I got about
but to begin
4,000 views for my website, just based on $80 Facebook ad. You know, so I think that was worth it. You know,
I've done that for my photography. I actually get business every time I do it on Facebook. As much as I hate Facebook.
It all cost you was $80.
Yeah, $80. Well, you could set the limit.
Yeah,
you could set your own rate, and you know, you get those eyes looking at you. I think it's worth it.
Yeah, it is.
Well, you know, I don't know if I have the money to do it. You know, I've already spent enough on this thing without having to, you know.
Well, let's tell Phil. Phil can't come on the show anymore unless he gives you $80 for your Facebook campaign.
Is Phil frozen for you guys or just me?
I mean,
Tom.
I mean,
yeah.
Tom.
Once in a while, guys freeze for me too, Ray.
Oh, okay.
But everybody's active now.
Yeah,
okay, Tom's frozen on mine.
John is kind of a little freezing sometimes. You're fine. You're perfect, and so is Tom. So you know,
Tom for me is frozen. Yeah.
No, he's okay. He's
No, he's been in the same position on my screen for a half an hour.
Can I say this? I don't want to be selfish about this when I say it, but I don't give a shit. I care what it looks like here. You know, because that's what's going out to everybody
John,
else.
I want to go to your event. I did Muay Thai for 15 years. I just quit recently
because you can come. I can bring two guys. I mean, these are expensive seats. They're like right where the judges and the refs sit.
Oh, okay.
You know, I mean, you're welcome to come there. Bring your camera.
I will. When is it? What's the date?
July 21 at Kezar.
Okay.
Dragon House MMA. Just Google that.
Yeah. Okay.
DragonHouseMMA.com.
Okay.
You know, and I got the job for live streaming all their fights. You know?
I'll be there. Cool.
Yeah.
Wow. I have like a bunch of professional MMA friends.
Well,
anyway,
all I'm saying is my arm's hurting. I got a what do you call that shot today?
Cortisone?
No,
cortisone. Cortisone.
No, a vaccination for what do you call it?
Mumps?
No.
Flu,
when you get the rash and everything.
Measles?
What?
Measles.
No.
No, shingles?
Shingles.
Yeah,
I got a shingle shot today. I had a shingle shot once before, but that previous shot was only good about 50% of the time. This new one is a new one now, and it's 90% of the time. So I went and got it. I don't know why. I've only had shingles once in my life, but I got it.
Yeah.
Hey, my wife and I just got out of Safeway, and I saw this sign, and it said shingles vaccines.
Yeah.
Big little cardboard sign. And I took a quick look at it, and I told her, honey, I thought it said singles vaccine.
Oh.
So if you're single, you can get a vaccine. That
no, but they've come up with this new shot, this new vaccine. Yeah. And so they said, come on and do it. And I go, well, I've got all the insurance pays for it. So we have to go. We went in and did it, and we have to come back in like 3 to 6 months or something and get a second shot. And then supposedly it's good for the next, probably the rest of
What
my
happens
life.
if you forget the second shot? Do you get sick or something? Or?
I don't know. Maybe you get half. Maybe you get half. Maybe you get half a shingle or something. What's really strange about my life was, and Tom probably remembers when this happened. I got shingles, and I had this pain above my eye and this kind of thing around my eye, and it was really bad. And I went and saw a doctor. I was upstate in California, in Mendocino. And this doctor, who normally gives out marijuana prescriptions, was also a doctor, and he checked me out. And he said, "You've got shingles." So he gave me the a prescription for the medicine to take care of it, and it went away. All right, but here's the thing: how do you get shingles? When you were a kid, you had chicken pox, right?
Yeah.
I never had.
It stays in.
I never had chicken pox.
But you might have and didn't know it.
Well, that's what I'm
mild...
thinking. Because I had a girlfriend, my younger girlfriend, who got chicken pox. She was like 23, but she got chicken pox, and then she said, "Well, you're going to get it now." And I said, "Well, I hope not." And I never got it. And I
doesn't matter. You can get it in your spine.
Here's what I think. I got it when I was a kid, but I got it just almost an inoculation amount, just nothing to cause. Maybe I got a couple of pimples somewhere or something, but nothing like full smallpox, but enough to inoculate me. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, as the years went on, it remained there, and that's why the shingles came up. But they asked me, "Did you ever have smallpox?" And I said, "Not that I know of." And they said, "You probably did."
Smallpox.
Or chicken pox. Excuse me, chicken pox. Excuse me. Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead.
I'm not dead yet. So, Alex, I had chicken pox when I was 26. I was in Salt Lake City working, and all of a sudden, I just broke out in these things everywhere. So I went to the emergency, and the doctor said, "You got chicken pox." He said, "You must feel really sick." I didn't feel sick at all. I had no symptoms other than the pox.
Well, I had measles when I was a kid, but that's that wouldn't have given me shingles. But I had chicken pox at some point in my life, and it just wasn't a strong amount of it, enough to put me to bed or have my parents be worried about it. And get years
you can
later,
get a mild case of chicken pox.
Years later, I've got this, and I'm glad. The guy said, "I'm glad you came to me." He said, "If you had waited another couple of days, you could have gone blind from this, because I had it right around my eye. I had it around the eye, and but the pills took care of it immediately, and he gave me some pain pills to take care of it, and then took me up to his house and got me righteously high on some Mendocino weed." So. Which by
did you ever get mumps?
No, but did you ever have Mendocino weed?
I have.
Yeah. Oh man, that stuff knocks you on your ass. Did I ever get mumps? No, I never had mumps.
I had mumps when I was a kid. Oh my god, that was horrible.
Me too, yeah.
It was like 2 weeks of I just remember I was 6 years old to go to the bathroom. I felt like I was 90.
But
just to get off the couch.
What is mumps? Do you know any?
I get swollen lymph
glands. You get swollen here, and you feel sick. You feel like you have the worst flu you've ever had in your life.
Really?
I'll never forget it. It was just like I was only like 6 years old or something.
Because
it was hell.
I never had mumps, and do they still get mumps?
Well, you get a vaccine now. You probably had a mumps vaccine.
Okay, so there's a mumps vaccine that will keep you from
but
getting
when we were
mumps.
kids, they didn't have a mumps vaccine. You just got it.
Well,
I had all those things, and I'm fine. I had chicken pox, measles, mumps, scarlet fever.
Ooh, scarlet fever can screw you up big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me make my picture smaller so that we can see.
Hey, we just lost.
Jack Bishop is joining us.
Here he is. I'm just waiting for my picture to.
Yeah, he's making.
I can't believe I'm calling you 2 nights in a row that you've had things that interested me the way you have.
I thought you were.
We have a fantastic, interesting show tonight.
You know what, Alex? I was thinking I'm having a colonoscopy soon. I could video it, and then you can show it on the show.
Well,
I think you should do that. Ray.
I put the pictures they took of mine on my Facebook page, and I titled it "Inside Alex Bennett."
You show off, Bennett. You'll do anything to get people's attention.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. But
hey, talk about chicken pox. I had chicken pox at 31.
Yeah, I had it at 26. Yeah.
Jeez.
And caught it from the 6-year-old daughter of a dear friend.
Uh-huh.
She had a headache for 1 day. I was down for the count for 2 weeks. And when I finally drugged myself to the doctor, because I didn't know what I had, he said, gee, Jack, I've never seen chicken pox in a 31-year-old black male before. Plus,
black male.
Sure I know what you have, and I don't want to touch you. Now, this guy was a poker-playing buddy of mine. And I don't think as an adult, I was ever so sick for so long as I was with this stuff. And when the pox finally, scabbed out, I looked like the backside of a Nestle's Crunch bar. And I tell friends now, if you got a kid that hasn't had chicken pox, you take them around somebody that has it, so get them infected so they can get over this.
Yeah.
Because kids,
they have a shot for it now.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do. My kids have had it.
For smallpox?
It's chicken pox.
Chicken pox.
Yeah, they do.
They got a chicken pox shot. Yeah.
Why the hell didn't they have it 40-some-odd years ago when I had this shit?
By the way, Jack. Can anybody see Jack?
No. He's just a little blue circle going around.
Whirling around and whirling around. There we go.
Oh, there he is.
There you go.
Yeah, my picture keeps freezing. Oh, well, you don't need to see me anyway.
Yeah, but
Jack, I didn't get sick at all. It was the doctor couldn't believe I wasn't ill. I just had pox everywhere, but I didn't feel sick.
Hey, I was so sick.
How sick were you?
How sick was I? I was
so sick. I tell you. I was sick. My wife was
no respect. I don't get respect. But I spent 2 weeks in bed feeling from various degrees of miserable to wishing I was dead.
Wow.
Sounds like fun.
It was no fun.
Sounds like seasickness.
I've never had seasickness. I've been a pretty good sailor. But I was vomiting. I had the runs. I was dehydrated.
Were you vomiting and having the runs at the same time?
At one time, yes.
Cool. That's awesome.
I got that turnaround down pretty good. I could go from one position to the other real quick.
Probably kind of looked like one of those chocolates.
Hey, that's the only
he
thing
probably
Linda
looked
Blair
like one of
didn't
those.
do. She had projectile vomiting and Exorcist, but nothing came out of the other end.
Well, you don't know because they didn't have the camera down there.
Probably looked like one of those chocolate fountains at a wedding.
Jack, the vomiting ice sculpture.
Yeah.
As they taught us in comedy writing school, that's funny.
Well, it's my business. Anyway, what's interesting is now we don't have your picture anymore, Jack. I don't know what
Frozen.
It's frozen.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, it's some not as we in the Gatois say.
Yeah.
It beats that way sometimes.
I mean, do you have low bandwidth in where you are? Yeah,
Man,
now your picture's
I've got FiOS and all that.
Oh, really?
For $300 a month, I'm supposed to have damn good bandwidth.
Yeah, well,
Now you're moving on my screen. Oh, you're gone again.
Yeah.
He goes,
Yeah,
but
same here.
Now I'm moving on my screen.
I have
but,
FiOS and I have great bandwidth. I never had trouble with it at all.
Well,
it's terrific.
Well, I live here behind the barbecue sauce curtain, so I'm just glad to be able to get out at all.
Yeah.
What is that? The barbecue sauce curtain?
I don't know. It sounds good, though. It sounds delicious.
Well, that has always been my term for talking about being in Texas. You're trapped behind the barbecue sauce curtain.
Oh, I see. Like the Iron Curtain. Okay.
As Alex and I were talking about last night.
Yeah. So anyway, it was we lived down there together. Well, not together.
Not together. No. We've only been friends.
Right. But it was weird.
You've had some pretty good-looking old ladies, and during the time I've known you, I wouldn't have minded.
I did okay.
Yeah,
I did okay.
For a kid from.
I found out the problem with going out with good-looking women, though, is that by contrast, you look uglier. So
Yes.
it's a problem.
So that's why you always want to date an ugly girl, because she's got all of these great-looking girlfriends.
Well, no,
I'd have a shot at.
No, but it's that old song about if you want
to be happy for the rest of your life, don't make a pretty woman your wife. From my personal point of view, get an ugly girl to marry you.
Bennett sweats copyrights. Watch it.
Well, no, you can. That was commentary.
Yes, that was fair use.
Clearly fair use.
I've got to light some incense. This is wow.
Why do you have to light some incense? You just fart or something? Or?
I got this. I got this from nuns in Modesto who grow weed. This is really cool. Palo Santo.
So you've got blessed weed.
Yeah. No, this is not weed. This is Palo Santo, the sacred wood. It smells like frankincense. It's really good.
Oh, screw that. Light up some weed, man, and pass it around.
Awesome.
I told my 25-year-old grandson, said, the next time you come here to Texas to see me, you better bring me some good dope from California, because I got a little touch of glaucoma.
Well, I mean, good dope. The trouble is that this is a whole different discussion. It's too late to get into it. But the fact of the matter is that with the legalization in all these various places, the business of pot has become a big deal. And all these wonderful gentlemen farmers in Mendocino are losing out on it because their stuff is the best stuff. The stuff you're getting at the infirmaries and wherever they're selling them in California is now the commercial grow. And man, I remember that stuff back up in Mendocino, and that was...
this Friday, there's a film on the marijuana cultivation along the Eel River, and I'm going to see it. I started getting involved with the Eel River because they want to develop a trail along the Eel River Canyon to Arcata. So I'll let you guys know on Tuesday.
Do you know who's opening up a pot-growing farm and is going to be in the pot-growing business now? Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. These aren't the gentleman farmers anymore. These are the commercial growers, and I like those guys who used to have those little plantations out in Mendocino and were 2 steps ahead of the law. Anyway, I want to thank Ray Renati for joining us tonight. God, what happened to him?
Thank you.
We just lost your picture at the last minute.
Yes, we did. What happened? Oh, crap.
Yeah, well,
that's so we can hear you, Ray.
John Perez,
I don't know what happened.
You.
It just disappeared.
Jack,
it keeps crashing.
Thank you, Tom. I thank you. I thank all of you for what was really a nice little discussion tonight. And fuck all if everybody else didn't call. If I had you guys every night, I'd have a good show. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay. bye-bye. That's our citizen panel, ladies and gentlemen, and they're going to wherever they go, off into the atmosphere, into the ether, as it were. And let me get rid of them. Let me hang up on them. Yeah, so they're all hung up from each other, and I'm hung up on a lot of things. But anyway, folks, stay tuned for Jack Bishop and Amy Manuel next on the intersection, and then right after that it's Connections at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow night. 9:30 it's Damian Chaplin and the Exchange, and then tomorrow night at 10 I'll be back on. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye, everybody, and thanks to our panel tonight.